Here we go. So let's read down here on number Ayin Zion. So Ayin Zion says, right, here it is. Nimse ki atach b'layla ha'gevuros v'chadinim asher mitzad hanekeva, which are coming from the female side, misgavrim v'hi cholechas minigdalis, and she continues on and grows bigger. So he says in his boyer la'el, so it says up above, shebe'esa dormita, nignasim anai de'ima ima mochin shebechem al tochanot. They're the five Gavuros. Haboinim Magdilim as Kolmasa, they grow her. V'chachasadim nimshas, Brad is in the chasadim nimshakam alecha rak la'achar zaman, la'achar mekan, ve'es hazivuk. Sh'az mamshech lo zer anpin es hachasadim miyisodo liyisoda. V'im came nimsa sha'ata chapalayla yeshes gavros shal gavuros benuk. That's what this, okay. The gavuros have the bechinas dinim k'noida, and we know that this refers to dinim. Now there's I think the next thing here before ayin ches, let me just look at it here. All right, let's read ayin ches also up above, and then we'll come back and we'll look over at Lamed Tes and the Shefa Gavanos. So, come down a little closer here. 1 second. So he said, Ad shenimsa shebe'ez ha-boker, kol ha-gavuros mischavros b'nekudas tzion sheba. So, ha-gavuros, he's going to explain, ha-gavuros mispashtem benuk balayla b'kol sevirosecho, throughout her, all of her spheros. Be'esa boker, and he says at the time of the morning, is kabsos, gather together, kwalos, kol hachamisha gavuros. Where do they gather together? They gather together in the spheres yisod shalach on nikras nekudas tzion. Okay, we had this concept before, so now he's bringing it in here again. Is the tzion, and then there's also Yushalayim, I think, referred to Malchus. So this is her yisod. Now, let's come over here and, whoops, whoa, look out. Okay, now let's come over here and look at number Lamed Tes. So Lamed Tes is Nimsa, so it comes like this key, Atach Palayla, Hagavuros, V'chadinim, Meshecha, Mitzata, the Cave of Mizgavrim, and let's go to the light print now. So he says, Bir Inyan Zera B'Katsara, so to make it this simply enough, I guess, Dehine Rabamuchan and Meshachan the Zer Anpin, he's a kolula b'mochin the ava or b'mochin the ima. So what comes into he gets from both sides. V'kol echad b'hem kolul ma'arba. Now I think this word doesn't belong here. This is binos, but I think the way it's supposed to read, what I think is v'kol echad b'hem kolul ma'arba mochin, and then he names the mochin, which are chochma bina chasad dedas and gavuras dedas. So let's say he says that each one, just make sure because that kind of threw off my concentration, that word. So they incorporate mochin the abba and mochin the ima, and each one of them has four mochin. So there are 4 mochin on the abba side, 4 mochin from the ima side. For kodesh niknasim a mochin b'zer anpen, then we have a chiluf, naas a chiluf. So you take I guess it would be the left side of Abba, or the Bina of Abba, you switch it in Muach HaChochma de Ima. Umuach has got Hagavuros the Das, of Abba, they switch in the Muach HaChosad the Das, the Ima. So it comes out like this, and Nimsa Sha'achar HaChiluf, that after the Chiluf, he said, "Mochim shebenai the ima, that the mochim that are in the nai the ima, kolula b'mochim achachma v'chasadim, they have within them chachma v'chasadim, klalos kol chachamisha gavuros, and let me say they're in the wrong place, v'chasadim the das." So let me read the sentence again. So Nim says she'achar ha'chiluf ha'mochim shebenai the abba. kolulim memochi chochma v'chasadim dedas, v'hamamochin shebenai de'ima kolulim memochim habina u'gevuras dedas. So the other one is Abba has the chasadim dedas. Excuse me, I said it wrong. The ima kolula b'mochan abinas v'gevuras dedas the Abba ve'ima. So there is a mixture there. V'hine zer anpin mamshek l'loch the Nook. So he extends into the Nook. Ha'ara rak ha'mochen de'ima. So it shines into v'hine zam mamshek. He gives her only the mochen of ima. V'chein la'achar mekan be'esa dormita. Then at the time of dormita neknasim hanai de'ima the Nook. The nai the ima, which has this lineup of a mochen inside of it. Nimsa shemekabelas hanuk rak es hamochen the binos and the vuros of the Nook is now receiving only the mochim of the binos and the gevur shebenai the ima. So that's really what she gets is that's now in the nai the ima. The gevuros yotzes mispashtas begufo. So then they spread into her body. Umagdilos also, and they cause her to grow. V'la'achar mekan misasfos b'yisoda. Then after that, they gather together in her yisod, which is also called by the name Tzion. Ube'es hazivug. Now he's coming together with her at that time of the yichud. Nosin bo zir anpen esachasadan shenimshukol b'doch melanai the Abba. So now that Abbadik side comes in and extends over to her as this as the chasadim from the nai the Abba. Umeshneim now yachad mechachazim v'chakavur shebiyisod the Nook. Now you have both of these in the yisod of the Nook. Notzach of vlad. This is what actually causes the vlad to be born. Now it's a little bit okay. V'yu'un and miluyim he has it at the end. Shecharakta v'zeh, we got into it a little bit more deeply. V'zeh shekosiv kan harab at the belaylo, at the nighttime. Hakavuras for Dinim asher mitzad the keva mizgavrim. So they're growing like that. So let's see. I think we did number ayin test. So we're over here on number pay. Number pay goes along with this idea. Belaylo hu eish Shlita sanuk. Now we kind of like talked about that a little bit. So what is he saying here? V'zecha yizboyer. I think we're on number pay. That's right. Yizboyer l'chol inyan shlitas hanekeva b'layla. What's it all about? The shlita, the Nook at the nighttime. Hanizgar bizarre, which is mentioned over here in the Zohar. L'hi shachar ein lo shlita oz, because at that time the Zohar has no shlita at that time. Ki naflo shena al eno. So we been through this before. Uviyosech is masech b'yadah. And so, Ubesa is Maser Biyadohor, and I don't know what Ubesa means. We'll see. But talking Ba'od Lila Kanoida. Let's see what did that mean. I don't know if I skipped this in my review. I'm not sure. Kanoida Bevucher Bezoyer Shabalila on Haga he rock Agide Hanuk. So the way the world works. Now we're sleeping at this time. Or we're sleeping or we get up. I don't know which one he wants to talk about, but he says the way the world works now is the way of the Nook. Masha Ain came beyond, which is not the case in the daytime. There, the Hanhaga is according to Zer Anpin. It's like the difference between the sun, maybe, and the moon. So he said, V'zera v'sod pasuk v'yisakim ba'od lilo, v'talkim, and get up while it's still nighttime. V'titan teres the base teref the basis, so you would give, I guess, food or supplement to the besa. Now let's use the word besa again. Shabalayla on Haga, and so goes, what does besa mean? So he says Shabalayla on Haga v'chashef and nishba ayidecha benuk, because it means to say that besa is where everything is coming from. V'inyin zechav moving hating, so this could be well understood. According to what we're seeing over here in this drush. So since Zah is now at the nighttime. Bebechinas dormita v'shenas, is sleeping. Al kain ein hanhaga ge'ez al yado rak al yedei hanok. Now, I don't know if there's any depth to this, what it actually means, but we know what nighttime is like. If you get up after midnight, you're zeicha to that, and to be able to learn after midnight, it's, to me, like it's like a very motherly time, let's say, so to speak. It's like a very, very sweet time, etc. Let's go to number Pei Aleph. This is on the phrase of Birchos Hamapil. So that's the question I was thinking as I started this. What does it actually mean? Hamapil Hevle Shena al Einai, and then Umeir Leishon Bas Ayin. It continues. So that's a V'atach and Nevoyer Kavodas Birchos Brachazo Yoser Derek Sod Veremes. So I want to get into more deeply. Im Shechakol Kavana Achas He Im Masha Be'arno Ba'ata. So he says, if it's all one Kavana, or it's what's going to be what we're about to explain now. So he says, V'chakol Nikshech Zebezeh, Nik Kasher Zebezeh, and they're tied together. I get a little drink here. So he says, excuse me, as Sedach Kavana Sheyesh the Kavet Bebichos Hamapil, what should be actually be the order of our Kavana here? Ve'heim Mamash HaKavana Shenizboyer ad Heina. So it's really what we've been talking about. Meva'aram Bebechinas Hashemas V'harmozim Shalachem. But now we're going to talk about that. Now, what did he mean by that? I don't know. So he says like this on number Pei Bet. He says, Hine Hastaklos V'ha'arach al Yona Nimshach min Havaya da'av. It comes so he says, goes like this, which is the Haya the Yudin. Elavaya the Sag, into the Havaya the Sag. Misham Elavaya the Ma, the Olofim. Misham Elavaya the Ben, the Hayin. So exactly what is he talking about? So Sedach Hamshachas Hamochim Hu. So one is inside the next. Hu Shanim Shachim Mishem Av, Shuhu parts of Eric Anpin. El Shem Sag, Shuhu parts of Abba Ve'ima V'Yasos. Misham Elovaya Dema, Shuhu Azer Anpin, and then ultimately comes to the Nook, which is the name Ben. So let's go number Pei Gimel. So he says one is inside of the next. Now, I could have thought that. I didn't even know that they meant that there were one inside of the next. That's a little bit new to me. So anyway, let me just see where we're at. Where is number Mem? Mem is in the next section. Okay, number Pei Gimel. So all of this is the secret of the Midah of Yom. Because the way things work is that Shefa comes through the male side. Now, where do we get the world of Kol Zech episode Midas Yom? So what we're talking about is the Midah of Yom, which is Zeranpin. Haseder HaNizkar, what we said before. Hu Haseder HaRagal Na'asa B'Shavos Yom. This is really the way I normally think about it during the daytime. Daytime, you could see, everything is seen, it's under the sun. Because then the Mochim continue on to Zeranpin, V'hu Nosnum al Nook, and he gives them to the Nook. V'hazan Hagav V'chashefet Nimshach al Yado, so there everything has to go from him into her. Now let me see, there was a, where is this Mem? Mem is in the next section. Okay, number Pei Dalet, going on. Aval B'Laila, Sha'az Hamidus Alayla Goveris. So now we have the nighttime thing. It's the Nukadika time. Then Shachas Arach Min Havaya Da'av, the Yudin. Now that's a little harder for me. So this is being the Yudin. Atzma Derek Yasher in a straight line. Elavaya the Ben. So you're going where in nighttime he says that the Shefa that comes from Eric Anpin, and we know that the Nai of Ima penetrates into the Nook. So he says, Shachas Ha'ara min avaya the av the yudin atzmo derek yasher goes in a straight line of avaya the ben the mivui hayin. Amnam beloylo kevin shina asis adormita a mistalkim amochim mizer anpen nimshachim ke'es amochim me'erek ma'arich shehu shem av el hanuk shehu shem ben shelo derech azad doesn't go through zer anpen. Oh, we know that because it comes straight out of Ima into the Nook. V'oz mismalos gam he v'naasis beyudin, and then v'naasis beyudin kamocha rishona. So then he says this phrase. He says she becomes fulfilled, full. Gam he also she becomes filled, maybe fulfilled or filled. Beyudin, and then she also has v'nasa yudin. What does that mean? Kumo harishona. So what is that? Kashimakelis Nook as ha'aras havaya the av. Now she's getting a direct havaya from the name av. Yidech v'zeh the hafech shem havaya the ben shabo into a shem av. Now he says v'oz mismalos gam hiven asid beyudin kumo harishona. Now what does that mean? So he says, "Oh, the Yos came." So since that's the situation now, so you need to remove or has to leave the chavaya de av. In other words, that's to clear the way for chavaya de ma. So now you have av and ben. That's all that's left. Now that's a kind of an unusual kind of statement. The kadesh yakanzel hamamocha de av ma'arich el hanuk, from arich to the nook. So he says the tzarik tehila sheyistalko hamocha misag umama. So he says that's the first thing that has to happen. He says the haino mipartzufi abba ve'ima ve'yasos from. So let's go back. Let's say what is sag? Sag is abba ve'ima and yasos. So you have to pull them out of za, which is ma. So he says v'kol zeh nirmaz bebracha zu. So in the bracha, the concept of removing, he didn't say, I was waiting for him to say, he said, the haino mepartzufi abba ve'ima ve'yasos, they take out the sag, umehazah, you take out the ma. Okay, there it is. Both of them are gone. Because so all of them are remised in this bracha. Kol chaseder ha'amor shehu chastalkos ha'mochim mepartzufi sag, uma, the fact that they leave, the ben is going from taking out from the you're going to have a mochin going straight to ben. Kol nirmez bebrachas Hamapil. So we need to know how does that work? And we're going to explain that. So there is a number mem over here. Let me just make sure that I'm getting my place right. And let's look at number mem. So number mem says, on the phrase "V'yos kain tzarich sheyistalek ha'ara mechavav mechavaya desag of the hayat the men." They have to go someplace. Where are they going to go? I just really understand that. Yesh the ayin bezecha shaloch metzino shebe'esa dormita. So he says, we don't find at the time of the dormita mistalkim v'mochem mepartzufi abba ve'ima v'yasos v'rak mizer anpen. We only see in the story of this that we have is we always say like this, that the mochin leaves zer anpen and they go into the nook. Over here he says the mochin mepartzufi abba ve'ima v'yasos, rather doesn't talk anything about sag and ma. A beer, it should be just ma actually, but let's see. But he had said that they're mistalik, so I asked, where do they go? The beer hayafa shah, he explains this. The hamochin dezer ante nimshachem ma'arich va'ovrim derek ava ve'ima v'yasas v'hem noislim oson laza, and he gives the dezah. This is the way it normally is. Or during the daytime. Masha Omer Kana, what we talk about here, where he says Shemistalkim ha'aras ha'mochim ha'abahu ve'ima v'yasa, so he says that the mochin all leave them. Hakavanot ha'aras ha'mochin dezer anpen, the kavana is really on the ha'ara of the mochin dezer anpen, hanitenes la'aba ve'ima b'kidei sheyimshlo osel dezer anpen, in order that they should bring up to zer anpen shehi mistalkim atav. Now it's gone me'ava u'me'iva. v'Yisrael, of Yisrael Savadavona. Kevin she'ein nem shakim atach b'mochen is their anpin, since the mochen is their anpin are now not flowing over that direction. Mamochen into their anpin. Mikol makom amochim hashaychim la'aba ve'ima v'yasos, and certainly those mochim that are shaykh to them. Heim enam istalkim v'chem ata. I don't know this phrase, what it is. I try to look that up, but I don't know what that al shin means. Wasn't easy for me to find that. Okay, so Mikol Makom, let's just finish. As Mikol Makom Amochim Ashaychan La'aba Ve'ima V'Yasas Atzman Heim Einim Istalkim V'chem Ata Ve'ein Sham. I don't know if Ad Sham. I don't know. It's not odd. So anyway, let's go on to the next little piece here. He says B'Kol Zechav Nirmas. B'Kol Zer Nirmas Bracha Zu. Now, did I say all that already? I think maybe I did. So let's look at number Mem Aleph. He's Mem Aleph said, "V'kol zechav nirmaz b'bracha zu." So all of this is really referenced over here. Mavur kan the berachos Hamapil. When you get to that bracha, you say that bracha. In Yonah siluch hamochim be'esed dormita. So what's it talking about? In any case, is the siluch of the mochim for the and the dormita v'hinech v'kafachayim. Hevi mashadandach achronim ha'im. Mevarchim berachos Hamapil. If you're going to say that, al shem with together, im shem hamalchus, with the shem hamalchus. So it's interesting. V'notach lo m'sheyesh levarach b'shem hamalchus, and there's those inclined to say like that. Kevin shechaz huzkarocha bebracha zu b'gemara of the Divrei Arizal. Mikol makom cause of the kevin shal rishash. Mistafik I Amrinim Berachos Hamapil Berosh Hashana. I don't know, Berosh Hashana. Ad Shmini Atzeres. Okay, that's what he says. Mistafik whether or not you should use Shem B'Malchus at that time. Why? Macha the Berachos Hamapil Kuvana al Histalkos Hamochim, because here we're talking about Histalkos Hamochim. He says that's what happens when you say Hamapil. Like explained over this drush. And v'yamen on his karim ain't istalkos hamolchim. Shekaim b'yamen mahem na'as seder chatitnik bezul in the parts of the zemanim. So what does that mean? The parts of the zemanim, to which I guess it's the zeman. Okay, that's it. We'll come back and look at this one again. Number Mem Aleph be the place to start the next time we meet.